Hello, and welcome to another Monday Night live stream. Today, we're going to be continuing our foray into Castles and Crusades, doing a little bit of a weird adventure that I brewed up in my head, and that hopefully these guys can survive all the way through. That being said, those of you that are catching us live, great, welcome. And those of you that catch us on the recorded side, we hope that if you like these types of live plays, that you join us on Monday nights around 8:30 Pacific, or if you want, you can always leave us a comment, tell us how we're doing, see if we get the games right, all that kind of stuff. Like, subscribe, do all that kind of jazz. And so, yeah. So today we're going to be continuing our adventure into the ancient dwarven ruins. Of course, using the system Castles and Crusades. We got our two players, which we'll do just kind of a little bit of recap. And we apologize to everybody for last week's sudden termination of the stream, but the technical difficulties hit us hard, and we had no way back. So it just kind of stopped. So just to kind of recap a little bit about what the guys are doing, is that they were basically going through. They were prisoners, and as part of a lottery, they won their chance to go through a maze, a ruin, an old abandoned dwarven fort, whatever have you. Brave the challenges within, and if they can escape to the outside, then they earn their freedoms. All past crimes pardoned, which is not a bad deal, except for the whole fact that the dungeon may have some stuff of danger in it. So we're going to see how well these guys do. They have currently reached the second floor of the fortress. The fortress being built kind of layer by layer. Seems to be built around something. So great dwarven corridors seem to be squared around some sort of central space. They don't know much about it, other than there is kind of a fetid smell that Jeff's nose was able to pick up in that first uh, officer's room. But now they're on the second floor. They do have a choice to go between right and left. To the right, their corridors take them through were originally dwarven dormitories, or to the left, where they know that there is a trade hall as well as kind of a feasting hall receiving area. And Brent actually knows a lot of this because he read the map. It was a very convenient tactical map that was placed in the officer's chamber, and he read it. Good job, Brent. so,
I'm also
so
a dwarf, so I have some knowledge of being underground. So
mhm. Yep. So has a little bit of knowledge about how far underground he is. Uses all those stone cutting type skills and everything like that. So there we are. Do you guys want to remind folks who you're playing just before we get into it?
I am playing Laskrun, the dwarven locksmith and rogue, doing time for various counts of burglary. Now I have a fancy book in my backpack and a stone that shuts off the golems in the dungeon, if there are any more,
Okay. Not a
or at
bad
least
stone to
or at least
have.
shut off the one upstairs.
It did.
I am playing Solvang, the half-orc monk. I was imprisoned for being in the wrong place at the wrong time and inadvertently helping some people who were robbing a place by holding their horses for them. I think the thing that stands out the most about my character, other than being a half-orc monk, is that his charisma is 2. So he is very awkward
He's not the
around other
talker of the
people.
party.
No.
Well, it's always amusing that, as many of these types of games that we do, and as many starting, dice roll, like however you generate statistics for your players and all that stuff. I am still impressed that you managed to get a sub 3 dice roll
Well,
in a
no, I got a
game.
4, but as a half-orc,
It's -2 charisma.
Oh, it's -2.
-2
Yeah, but
charisma.
exactly, like you went all the way down. Like you're at the point where talking to people and they like look at you, recoil in horror for the words that you say are so dangerous.
Or I'm just so inept at
He just sticks his
communicating.
finger up his nose a lot when you're having conversations and people don't want to talk to him.
Yeah,
It's kind of
I mean,
gross.
it could be a lot of things, but
He's not a leader. That's
yeah.
That's what people say when they see a good
Yeah,
old
I
soul
don't
bang. They
know
go,
that the 2
that
charisma
guy,
was.
I don't know what, but he's definitely not a leader.
That's right.
Yeah.
The second choice was a 4 intelligence, and I decided it was easier to roleplay a 2 charisma than a 4 intelligence.
Well, however it goes, we know that we have two. I don't know where you guys fall on the heroic scale, but two people working together for the common good of getting out of these ruins and hopefully to their freedom, where they can spend the rest of their days doing whatever.
Hey, I left the
More
golem turned
larceny.
off in case anybody comes after us. That's pretty nice.
So any
Or the
future
goblins want to
challengers,
organize and charge the prison.
Also, that's okay with me.
that's okay with you. Yeah, fair enough.
Well, I'm not very fond of
Um,
the prison, so yeah, I'm okay with that too.
So okay, so basically, like I said, you really just have two corridors because if you go from layer to layer, what you remember from the map is that the stairs on the first level were opposite the stairs on the second level,
Mhm.
and then of course those would take you down to the bottommost level. I mean, it's not a humongous fort, but obviously there were enough dwarves stationed here to protect whatever was important for their interest in the region at the time. So a few dozen dwarves at the very minimum, uh, maybe 100 at the most. So that's a mid-sized outpost, but you don't know it's how it was staffed or anything like that. You can only guess based on your knowledge and what you read from the
Well, and it
map.
doesn't matter because it's staffed by goblins now, which
Yeah, yeah,
so
there's a big difference. It's not staffed by dwarfs anymore.
and we know about the we know that because there's goblin graffiti all over the wall.
They've made their presence pretty well known, kind of turning these corridors into what would be more closely resembled as goblin warrens. They've made it their own piles of dirt, fungus growing from the dirt. Certain territorial smells that any dwarf really, as soon as that kind of acrid scent hits your nose, you kind of recoil, unconsciously because of your absolute love for goblins. And in case anybody is wondering, in Castles and Crusades, they did go with the whole like animosity for elves and the enmity for goblins and orcs. So, FYI.
Yep, they did. So yeah. So I look at Solvang since he doesn't have a intelligence of 4, and I say, well, we know that the place where they might live, the barracks, where the dwarven barracks were, is to the right, and then there's a trade hall and a feast hall to the left. And it looks like, from what I saw on the map, that we're gonna have to go through them to get to the outside, go down. Which way do you think we should go?
What time of day is it? Do we know? Do you have an estimation?
Do I know that? I might know that.
Um, would you know that? I mean, you would know
I mean, we'd have
you,
some idea when the prison sent us down here.
Well, I mean, there used to be a thing where dwarves could tell what time it was, regardless of like being in a cave, being underground. I don't know if that's in this though.
it doesn't appear. I don't remember. I don't remember them seeing that in here. I do. You have the determined depth and direction, and you have
Okay.
stonecraft. So extensive knowledge of stoneworking and construction, but then kind of like which way is up, down, left, right, and all that kind of
Yep.
stuff without.
Okay, so yeah, so they don't have that in this.
I'm only asking because if it's daytime, we'll probably be more likely to encounter people where they eat. If it's nighttime, we'll be more likely to encounter people where they sleep.
Sure.
Unless you're telling us the goblins are nocturnal and they're all up at night and not at all during the day.
And then the reverse of that.
Well, I mean, so I guess my question is:
So what
is
time
that,
did
like,
they bring us down here? Just out of curiosity. Or would we not even know that from the jail? Because the jail is technically probably underground too.
Well, so I would say that you would still have some sense of you, because I mean it's not a jail designed for dwarves or anything like that. So there would be a sense of you're on a human clock, and the fact that and the fact that the warden met with you meant that it was a normalish time, to say the least. I would say that it was probably late morning when they sent you down into the caves, and based on everything, you could probably estimate that it's been about 2, maybe 3 hours since you have first entered into the corridors and everything like that. As for your second question, um, goblins, um, were they? You know, I didn't actually see if the goblins were nocturnal or anything like that in this particular system. I've always felt that goblins were more nocturnal, but I think that was just because they've always been kind of evil aligned, meaning that they always kind of preferred
Well,
to
in some
hang out at
versions
night.
of D&D, they don't like the
Mhm.
light. They have a problem with being in the light. But I think that was
Yep.
early.
Yeah.
So,
So what I would say is they still like being in dark spaces. So what I would say is they're probably going to be a little bit more nocturnal because they like living underground and forest. But they do have, they live in hillsides and all that stuff. So we can go with more nocturnal goblins if you guys are okay with that. And they also do have dark vision too, so they can see kind of like their dwarven enemies in the deep.
Yeah, so they have dark vision. We have dark vision. Nobody carries torches.
right. No one carries torches in these games.
No, well, the good news is you don't have to worry about carrying a torch. So
So yeah. What do you think? Flip a coin?
Well, if they're more nocturnal, then there's a greater chance that more of them are sleeping. I don't know how sound the sleepers goblins are.
Well,
I
and
think maybe the feast hall then.
okay. So yeah, we'll go left.
okay, so basically heading left. Um,
Quietly. Do you want us to roll a sneak? Because I'm good at that, but somebody else isn't.
I'm probably not great at sneaking. I'm probably very average at it.
You rolled really well last time, though, if you recall.
you did. Um, so here's what you see. So as you kind of turn to the left, you find that the corridor itself, kind of its grand dwarven craftsmanship has been fairly well stripped away and almost warped more to be suitable for the goblin occupants. You're not really sure how long the goblins have been here. Kind of your ability to kind of appraise stone and everything like that shows that they've taken the once pristine stonework and kind of whatever carvings were in there, dwarven ancestors and whatnot, is now pretty much been marred and taken out and repurposed to you know um, to be effigies towards heretical goblin gods and graffiti, like the equivalent of like a goblin drawing a penis on a dwarven face kind of thing. um, those pretty much have taken over. Filth clogs the hallways, and you can see that like broken tools that have been kind of left to disintegrate over the years have been pretty much it's just kind of shows the mess there. You do see though, as you kind of proceed there, some of the collapsed rooms that you had seen on the map. Some of them look like some of the entrances have been cleared. So you can see that the goblins, to what degree, they've been kind of in their own industry making space in this, have been kind of ransacking it. It doesn't take you too long though before you hear kind of a sharp, shrill cry piercing the corridor, unmistakably goblin in origin. It's not just a noise though. Jeff, you can kind of you know exactly what this is. It's pretty much like a goblin screaming out that someone is a cheater, kind of like they challenge him, like you hear like "you cheater" effectively, and whatever that means in Goblinese. I don't think
You mean
that's
whatever
actually
that
what it's
sound?
called.
You mean whatever it sounds like?
Yeah,
Because
whatever it
he knows
sounds
what it
like
means.
in
Yeah,
Goblin.
I guess I would say that it sounds like they're gaming up there in whatever direction the cry came from.
Yeah, you see that you heard that it's down the corridor a little bit farther. And as you like kind of looking a little bit, kind of straining the edge of your vision, Brent, you can see kind of what looked to be like kind of like barricades almost. Like rickety in nature, but and very, very rudimentary. But it looks as though they've actually chosen to block off a little bit of this corridor. Maybe because of people like you who've been coming down from the prison. Maybe because they think that stone golem or stone protector could come down. Who knows? But it does look as though it's kind of been defended at this point.
So should we try the other way? It looks like it's barricaded back there, over there. And it sounds like there's definitely people over there, we know for sure.
I mean, I think we're likely to run into people either direction. I don't know about the barricades. How does it look like it's fortified, or does it look like it's a table thrown across the hallway, or
We get a
Well,
little
you want to try and get a
closer
little
so I
closer?
can try and look at it.
Your dark vision's going to be a little bit better than mine and the
Right.
goblins. I think. I don't know. I know he's better than mine. I know he's better than
yeah,
mine. His is twice as far as mine.
Yeah, I try
exactly.
and get a little closer so I can. I have you wait there, and I try and get a little closer so I can see the
Okay.
barricade more clearly,
Okay.
sneakily.
So you actually hear them making quite a bit of noise. Like you could, you don't speak goblin or orc or anything like that, right? Right, that's what I remember.
No.
So you just hear kind of the shrill, kind of chittery goblin, kind of hurling aggressive language at each other. And you can see that like this like normally you would think that this is like something like a like a barricade, but it's kind of not really. It's more like Jeff says, it's kind of like tables have been turned, stuff has been piled high. You do see what looks like it could be a perch that stands empty, like they're like a person could go up there and look out over the hallway, but nobody's up there right now. And you can kind of hear maybe two, three goblins kind of conversing. Not behind the barricade itself, but off in a room to the side.
Oh, there is like a
There's
room off to the side.
Mhm. So at this point, there's you're not hearing any intention with their kind of um, aggressive talk at each other that's towards you. It's just the same timber pay. Everything is the same that you were hearing
Right. I
before.
just don't. Yeah, and I don't see anybody watching the actual
No,
barricade.
they're definitely not watching the
Okay, so
hallway.
I sneak back to Sylvain, and I kind of tell him what I think is going on. I can't understand what they're saying. I let him know that, but it sounds like there's like two or three of them in the side hallway that are probably supposed to be watching the barricade but aren't. I mean, as long as they don't sound an alarm, we could rush them. If we think we're going to meet resistance either way, we're probably going to have to fight some eventually.
Yeah. And if their screaming hasn't alerted anybody else yet, I don't know.
I'm
Yeah.
assuming there will be a bell or something they might have to ring if there's
Yeah,
a
they might.
and they're on this side of the barricade. They're not in the watch perch, so we might be able to catch them unawares before they sound an alarm.
All right, let's try to do that.
Okay. I'll let you go first then, since you are the most combat capable, as you proved by punching the spirit to death.
Yeah, I guess we got lucky on that one, but yeah, okay.
I don't know that. You seem pretty capable to me.
We'll
I
walk
mean,
down the
you
hallway.
punched a ghost to death.
It was a skeleton, not a ghost.
Whatever. You punched a ghost to death in my story.
Fair enough.
Still a ghost. Yeah, we'll head down the hallway. As
Sylvain,
trying
ghost
to be
puncher.
quiet, but not. Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
not.
so yeah, we try and sneak up on them in the room.
Okay. So why don't you go ahead and they're not really paying attention. So why don't we just use this as the standard? 1 second. I was looking for just one thing to see if there's anything that gave me a modification to their check, which I think there is. So I thought I just saw this earlier today, which I thought I bookmarked it, but apparently not. Good job, Mike. 1 second.
Well, I've moved silently, so it's under. It's like I have to get over a 12.
It would be a dex, but there was actually a table that it had that said like if there's 10 feet down the hallway +1, that kind of stuff. So 72 and 81. Oh, no, never mind. So it's just 72 and 81 are the rogue and assassin versions of listen, the skill. That's cool. So why don't you go ahead and roll for me, because it's a dexterity, I believe. So
Yeah, and I have to get over a 12, and Jeff has to get over like an 18.
No, dexterity is one of my two. Con
Oh,
and
is
that.
it?
Yeah.
Yep. So your challenge rating starts at let's just go with the flat 12. Just because they seem to be pretty engrossed.
Well,
in
I
whatever
failed.
they're doing.
He did well. I failed.
You don't get a plus. You get 1 for your level, Brent.
Oh, okay. +1 for my
Yeah,
level.
I'm about to say,
So
like,
I just hit it.
Let's take a look real quick before we get too far down the road here.
I just hit
went
it
to,
then.
I went to hit +1 and accidentally hit enter, and rolled my 17 before I added my +1.
So 12. Okay. I hit exactly a 12.
Don't you have a dex bonus too?
I
don't.
I didn't think we got the dex bonus. I didn't think that was how it worked.
Oh yeah. So when you do an
then I got a-
attribute
then I
check, you do a
got a-
d20 plus level plus modifier.
Then I got a 14.
Okay.
And I got an 18.
That's the thing I'm good at. Saved by
Okay.
modifiers.
Well, I mean, it's just that it's weird. I think that's probably like the thing that it takes a little bit of getting used to. That if it's a primary thing, then its base difficulty starts different than a secondary attribute.
That's the part that I'm missing. I just thought it was the base difficulty starts if it's a primary attribute. I didn't think you got your modifier, but that's even better.
Yeah, so it helps you a lot to be primary, which is why humans having 3 primary attributes is a big deal.
Yeah, that's why it's good for humans.
Yeah, but a human couldn't see in the hallway we're in right now. So,
That's true. I mean, I'm not saying they're perfect. I'm just saying there's a lot of circumstances being human helps.
So yeah, we both managed to be sneaky.
Okay. Well, I mean, as you guys are making your way through the hallway, Jeff, as you get closer, you basically hear them arguing about like the rules and placements of a bone or two. You're not really exactly sure what they're arguing about in any context, because whatever game they happen to be playing, you're not familiar with it.
Sure.
But as you guys approach, you can kind of see that where there might have been a door at some point, it's just long gone, probably repurposed for something else. But you see them kind of like in this cozy for a goblin room. They've kind of built up dirt piles and everything like that, and they're around a circular area, and kind of observing. You see that they're kind of throwing something into the middle, and they seem to be trying to like hit other.
Is there 3 of them or
objects.
2 of them?
There's 3 of them. And it's a very intense game of whatever the hell they're playing.
Do we have to go through them to get past them, or can...
At this point, you could continue going by them, because if you imagine the corridor, they're off to the side of the corridor. They're not watching their barricade at all. They're kind of off being...
I kind of motion for Lusgren to try to walk to, go around.
Around the barricade? Is there an around the barricade, or do I have to like move shit to get out and get it out of the way?
You can go. I mean, they have a small narrow entrance through it. You could make your way through it without any issue.
I thought it blocked the whole area.
No. It's kind of like makeshift crap everywhere. You can navigate through it.
Okay. Well, since we seem to be sneaking fairly well, yeah, I'll see if we can get through it.
Okay. Jeff, do you guys want to leave this band of goblins behind you?
Yeah,
Yeah, if we can get past them without sounding an alarm, it's better not to fight them. So yeah.
All right. So, being as stealthy as you are, you leave them to their gaming devices. You kind of just sneak past the barricade, going a little bit farther, and probably not very. It doesn't take too long before you feel like you've actually bypassed them in their distraction. Cool. And so basically, the corridor continues to go forward. Are you guys? You do notice that as you're coming down here, there doesn't seem to be any other immediate barricades or anything like that. But are you doing anything behind you to set up anything like warning or anything like that in case they come out?
I mean, for until we get like out of their what their vision range would be. I mean, I suppose that I look back every 10 feet or so, just to check to make sure they haven't heard anything and nobody went out to pee in the corridor or anything.
Yeah, and I don't have anything that can set up as traps or anything. We don't have like rope or anything. So
I just looked at the chat. Mike looks like he's had a haircut recently.
You
I've
didn't you
been
didn't have
losing
those
more
cow
hair.
traps, Brent, that you snuck in to
bear
prison?
traps. I don't have the bear traps in my bag. No.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. So by bypassing them, you do find that you can go down the corridor probably 100 or so feet, and you kind of feel pretty safe about that. You know that you're not exactly sure how the exact distance because there were whatever markers that indicated distance on the map were gone by that point. Relative distances. But the next area that you should be coming up on should be the trade hall. So, or wait, did I say feast hall or trade hall first?
I think you
So
said
you
trade
said
hall
trade
first.
hall and then feast
I think I
hall.
did say trade hall. Okay. Yeah, so you should be coming up on kind of the trade hall. Kind of an area that that they had when they were open for business, merchants and other people would come and conduct business from what they had there.
So the tunnel expands in this area, right? Like it's bigger in this area. Okay.
Yeah, it will get bigger in that area.
So we stop and listen and see if we can hear anything.
Okay. Brr, brr, brr. So when you get to the trade hall, okay. So the trade hall kind of was you know as it was originally intended to be kind of the heart of commerce here. It's now fairly chaotic in terms of just how it's been ruined. You see that where probably dwarven stalls had been set up, they had been torn apart, repurposed, and turned into uh, crude kiosks, maybe if you're lucky, fractured stone tables, and everything like that. Now serve as kind of like who knows food. You're not really sure. You don't know much about the goblins in this region. You do see that kind of the high arching ceilings that once kind of bore the ornate ornaments. That you find the goblins have somehow managed to climb up and cover everything that they possibly can. The important part is, though, is that as you kind of enter, you do see that this is an area of relaxation, probably for the goblins. You can tell that probably similarly to what you saw over there. You can see that they have areas where things probably happen, areas that have been cleared out and everything like that. However, it is kind of quiet right now. You don't hear or see any goblins in this particular area. However, you do hear noise coming from farther down the corridor. It's light, but it sounds like kind of the clang of metal, as well as a few other things like that.
Can you
Clang
hear
of
any?
metal.
Can you understand anything they're saying, Sylvain? Can you hear anything about?
I mean, I will try to listen to see if I can decipher any of it.
It's too muddled by the echoes coming through the hallways for you to make out what they're saying.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
we'll get
I
closer.
guess for no.
Okay. And as you kind of approach, you see towards the end of the the kind of the trade hall, you do see what look to be a few industrious goblins. They seem to be, basically hammering metal into shape, not in the artistic dwarven, way where they're making fine, swords, hammers, axes, what have you, but more in the goblin way, where they're taking existing pieces of metal and basically hammering them out to fit more goblin hands, and then of course sharpening it against rocks until they have a razor sharp edge, or at least a sharp enough edge to cut at you like a dull steak knife. Um, and yeah, you see them kind of working on their weapons of they look more like hunting weapons, to be honest. Not like they don't
In
look
like
like
the
they're
middle of
wielding
the hallway, though, right?
Yeah,
And how many are there?
just two. One's equipped with a hammer, and the other one seems like they've taken a set of tongs and they're just kind of holding on to these pieces of metal, so the other one can basically ram the hammer at it.
Well, they're busy and they're making a lot of noise. So any noise that we make, might obscure the fact that they're being attacked.
Maybe.
Because I don't think we can sneak past them if they're right in the middle of the hallway. Is it like a forge? Is that a light, like a makeshift forge or something?
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I mean, it seems like they're doing they're trying to forge stuff, but like they're heating up the metal, but not. The temperatures are relative. The
I'm
technique
just
is.
trying to figure out where the light's coming from. That's the only source of light that I can see, right?
Yeah, but they don't have like torches or anything else in the area.
But they're in the middle of the trade hall, or they're in the middle of the hallway to the trade hall.
They're at the end of the trade hall, towards where you would suspect that goes to the door.
All right.
They're kind of in the middle there. Seems like they've got a pile of
Oh, so
metal
they're
that
across the way. They're not in the. They're in the entrance way to the second hallway after after it widens out. Okay.
Yeah, that's
I
why
thought they
you
were
didn't
like
see them immediately.
I thought they were like right in the middle of the hallway.
Oh no, they're
Before
at
we
the
get
other
there.
end of the trade hall, so that's why you couldn't hear them say exactly what they were saying, anything like that.
So if they're observed, if they're working like that, and like one's pushing stuff into the fire, and the other one he pulls it out, and the other one's pounding it. Let's approach from the way where their backs are mostly to us.
Yeah, so we'll try and go down there's like the trade hall, I'm assuming is like like a circle or like a square.
Yeah, it's an open. It's a rectangular area. It kind of like
Okay.
as you see, the hallway's been widened. Good job, Mike. English. It's been widened quite considerably, so that, like I said, you can kind of walk through here. There's stalls and everything like that. It's also been heightened, so there are fairly arching hallways and everything like that. There isn't a second level or anything like
Right.
that. It's just
Does the tunnel come out like in the dead middle of the trade center or towards one end?
towards
Or
so if you remember that kind of central empty space, the corridor comes out and the trade hall expands out to the left.
oh, okay.
um
So we can
and
hug
then
the wall and approach them that way.
yeah, and
All
so
right. Yeah.
yeah, and then of course, like as it goes to the other corridor, it comes back and
Yeah.
back to you
We'll
on the
do
left.
that. Trying to
Yeah.
move slow at Lusgren's pace.
Yeah, slow and quiet.
Okay.
I mean, you could pounce when you get close, you could rush them. That's fine. I'll catch up.
In this area, just mechanically, you do have enough space that you could do a charge if you wanted to use that maneuver. So just enough.
I do
I
have a
may.
crossbow, so if you get ahead of me, I could shoot at them.
Sure.
So, because you move a lot faster than I do.
Yeah. No, I can go 35. I've got an enhanced movement, and that's just Okay.
So yeah, we'll sneak until the point where he can get to them, and I'll set
Yeah,
up to
and then
shoot them.
charging probably is the way to go.
Okay. So you're gonna you get to do a charge. Um, let's see. I'm going to say that you get in a surprise round before the goblins get to react. Um, so if you want to use that for your shot, and if you want to use that for your charge, you guys can definitely do that. Did
Yeah.
you want to shoot first and then charge, or how did you?
No,
How
I'll
did
let
you
him
guys want to play
charge, and then I'll shoot the other one.
that? Okay. Um,
And I will charge the one with the hammer.
okay.
Which means I'm shooting the tongs one.
So the only reason I ask is because in this game, the ranged weapons that miss their target continue on their path and potentially hit another target within close range. If the target of the attack is missed, the projectile continues a straight line, can hit anything in its path. Since we're not really using battle maps or anything like that, I don't think that would be as easy to determine for us. So just an FYI, in the normal game, that does happen.
Sure. That makes sense.
Okay. So go ahead and you can charge. Now a charge is you're using that momentum to gain it. A successful charge attack results in a +2 damage inflicted, but it normally would give you a -4 penalty to the armor class the entire round. Since they're not really attacking you, I think you can get a freebie here. I saw the ellipses, but I didn't see a roll. Where'd that
No,
roll
Jeff
go?
has to roll, but I'm.
Oh, I got
Is
roll.
there?
Yeah. So I don't get any bonus on the attack itself.
What page are
No.
the maneuvers on again?
The maneuvers themselves. Well, they're situational maneuvers. 1 second. The maneuvers were on page.
I don't think it's going to matter, Mike. I rolled a 10 with my +2.
A 10? Okay. Where the hell were those maneuvers? Wow.
They were late in the book.
They were. I posted it in the chat. I'll find it again. Here it is. The maneuvers are on page 252 of the book.
Okay.
So charge, +2 damage, -4 attack. You rolled a total of 10.
A total of 10, 8 +2.
Okay.
So a total of 10.
Meaning that in this case, let me double check the goblins AC. Yeah. You kind of just crashed into the area, scaring the shit out of 2 goblins that had zero. They like kind of like, if you can imagine, all of a sudden they heard the heavy footfalls, the thump, 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 and kind of curiously, they both look in your direction. And the last thing they expected to see was an orc charging at them. Fortunately, both of them kind of used that moment to be like, oh shit, and kind of step back. And you kind of just explode into that, causing everything just to kind of go clattering away.
I know he's got a crossbow, so I'm trying not to be in his way.
Okay. Brent.
I rolled a 13.
A 13.
Or a 10 plus 3.
10 plus 3. Okay. So in this case,
What is a
All right.
kobold's armor class?
What's that?
What is a kobold's armor class?
A golem's armor class? Well, a
kobold
golem.
or goblin. Sorry, kobold.
A golem. They're golems.
Well,
goblin golems.
I'll just put my weapon down and identify.
Yeah. So these guys, they're not exactly prepared for any kind of fight or anything like that. So a 13 does hit them.
Ah, 6 points damage.
Oh, you staple it. Brent, why don't you tell me a little bit more about what your character was doing in order to slay that first goblin surprised by Jeff?
Well, I was aiming while he was charging, so he ran up and knocked all the shit over. And so while Tongs was standing there, kind of shocked at what happened, the crossbow quarrel just streaked out and punched straight through his throat.
Mm-hmm. And through his throat it did. Kind of like that surprised gurgle as he's like, and he kind of only too late, kind of looking in the direction of you as the kind of blackish ichor kind of goes down his chest. He kind of stumbles around for a moment before falling over, dead, obviously. So roll D10 for me.
Deceased. I rolled
Okay.
3.
So
I got a
Jeff,
9.
so you have this other goblin. He's got his hammer. He kind of looks slick with sweat, surprised at seeing his fellow goblin just suddenly hit with a crossbow bolt, but angry at you because obviously doesn't know how else to feel right now besides surprised. But you still have the initiative on him. What do you do?
I think I'm going to try to grapple him.
Ooh, grapple.
Uh, 22.
Well, I would say he's probably grappled.
Okay. Well, he's not grappled, no. I don't think you understand who this goblin is. This is Wreck. So
if the goblin's not grappled, we're in deep shit.
his name is Zangief. His Russian.
If he's spinning pile drivers, the orc. Where I'm just gonna put my weapons down and give up.
Okay. So just for everybody else, just as a reminder, grappling isn't any different than any other D&DS game where you're basically like wrestling or constricting or whatever you call it. But you make it a roll against the defender's AC, which Jeff just did. Include all your modifiers such as bones to hit, strength, and others that might occur. Should you be successful, the defender is held and cannot act except to break the hold. The defender, considering the nature of the attack, is considered pinned or held unless they are already laying on the ground. A pinned defender is considered standing. Attempts to knock a pinned opponent down require a successful overbearing attack in the following round or rounds, unless the castle keeper determines otherwise. The attacker can take no action as long as they pin the defender. So basically at this point, his only real thing that he can do is he can try to escape a grapple, I guess.
Get orc strangleholded.
I
didn't know your monk was a jujitsu monk.
The monks in this get a +2 bonus to overbearing grapple checks.
Oh, they are jujitsu monks.
So
the giant
level 1, I only have so much.
The giant half orc rear naked chokes the tiny goblin.
Yeah. Fairly, I guess. So I mean, at this point, I feel like the goblin being a smaller creature, all that really happens is that you just kind of like, can you describe how you're grappling this goblin who's got his little hammer? Like how exactly are you doing this?
I probably have like one arm like around his throat trying to control his body, and then one arm like underhooking is the hammer, in my mind, trying just so that he can't swing the hammer at all,
Okay. And so basically he's
him.
just kind of taking care of there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, 1 second. I'm going to see how he gets out of being pinned. Oh, there's no way to get out of being pinned. Perfect. No, I was kidding. Okay.
I'd be surprised if there was no way.
Oh, neat. No one really talks about being pinned or held there. So it basically, I would assume that situational modifiers, prone or defenses. I guess I never thought about what to do after the grapple because I read up on the grapple rules. And I assume that there's a way to break the grapple. But it
Is there
just
a
says the
way
defender, considering the nature of the attack, is considered pinned or held, unless they are already laying the ground. A defender is considered standing.
So he's still standing.
Yeah.
I'm controlling him to some degree.
Yep.
Wait, but he's pinned or held, right?
Yeah.
How is he pinned if he's still standing?
Well, they say he's like, I assume that he's basically just pinned and bear hugged, so as opposed to overbearing, which pushes them on the ground painfully.
Is pinned and held the same thing then?
In this game, it seems like that's the case.
Okay, so pinned and held is one term, not separate.
Yeah.
Because what you're describing as bear hug, I would consider held,
Mhm.
not pinned. But
Yeah, I
if
think
it's
it's
one
just a
term,
term that
then
they're
it's the same
using.
thing. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
So what? After you have him pinned or held, can you hurt him somehow? Or are you just holding
you
him
can.
forever?
You can roll to overbear him.
Yeah, I can try to overbear him, but it's everything takes another turn.
What does overbear do?
Another turn. Puts him on the ground.
Okay, and then once he's on the ground,
and I guess
basically
I just hold
you
him
get
on the
lots
ground
of
until you
bonuses
come over
to
and stab him.
to punch him in the head, or does I have to walk over and stab him? I mean, I don't have a problem with that. I'm just kind of trying to figure out what we're doing.
Okay.
Because the monk just holding him there. Why?
I mean, that seems to be what
Oh,
they.
okay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I assume that he basically either he has to roll a grapple to get out of combat with you, or he tries to, or basically tries to do a strength check. I assume it might be an opposed strength check just to break your grapple, which would make sense, wouldn't it, in this kind of situation? So
Yes.
rather than get caught up on that, he's going to try to get out of. It's kind of going to try to escape.
Sure.
So in his particular, I think he's going to try to. He's going to try to use his slickness to kind of sneak out of that and just kind of slime his way out because he's a sweaty goblin. So. Okay. 15. You want to
probably gets
roll
out.
You want to roll an opposed dexterity check with me?
Is it dex or strength?
Well, he's trying to wiggle his way out. He's not trying to. He's trying to dex his way out of this entire thing because he's a sweaty goblin, as opposed to being a stronger goblin than an orc or a half orc.
Never mind.
Yeah, it looks as though he twists and turns his body, Jeff, and as you can tell, he's trying to use his lubricated flesh to escape. But it seems as though you're able to kind of predict what he's doing and adjust your hold, so that as he kind of pulls himself away, you adjust and pull him back in, effectively keeping him held. Brent.
1 second. Oh, you can also pummel them, which is punching them. It looks like in grappling, which 1 to 2 damage modified by strength. So, so yeah, I'm just moving closer. I'm just trying to run up over there. So, I'll move my 20 movement to get closer.
Okay.
All right.
So in this case, defender is prone and defenseless equals a +10. Would you consider being held by another person defenseless? I would think so.
Well, if it's a bear hug like you said, then yes.
Yeah, I would say so. Okay, so roll me a hit at +10.
Whew.
Isn't it your turn, Brent?
I thought I could only move closer.
Well, you can move half your movement, and I guess you might have been far enough away that.
Yeah, he's far enough away.
Yeah, if he moved his full movement for the charge,
I moved 35 feet for the charge.
It's going to take me 2 turns enough to
Yeah.
Unless I want to shoot at him, which sounds really dangerous, given what you said at the beginning of this
somewhat dangerous
combat. Yeah.
Yeah, why don't you just keep running?
So Jeff, like, Ryan Kingston was just like, here he is. I mean, you could. I don't. I mean,
I guess it is at +10.
what?
Funny. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm just moving because that doesn't make sense.
All right, I'm gonna try to overbear.
I sling my crossbow and move up, pulling my hand axe as I do.
So you could run. So you could run up to 4 times your normal movement rate, since that's all
Okay.
you're doing in this.
I'll run
You're
then,
basically
yeah.
running up.
So I'll be there for next turn to.
Okay, I'm gonna
hit
try
it in the
to
head.
overbear him.
Do we wait?
Oh.
Do we need to roll initiative again?
Oh, we need to roll initiative.
Yep.
I always forget the rolling initiative every round.
So
Well, Jeff, headbutt the shit out of him, I guess.
I rolled a 6. Yeah, let's overbear.
okay.
24.
That's a critical. He rolled a 20.
Criticals are actually not criticals
That
in this
really a
game.
thing
I guess
in
unless
this?
you use like a optional rule for it.
Well, I'm calling
Not
it a
only
critical.
did I put him on the ground, I really put him on
It's
the
critical
ground.
fun, is what it is, regardless of whether the rolls are
Yeah.
critical or not.
Yeah, I hope it knocked the wind out of him a little bit, as hard as he hit when I took him down.
Well, I guess it's kind of. I mean, a homebrew, like, because the system doesn't really offer a critical hit, but if you wanted to reward that 20, we could always say that they just function the same way they do in D&D and just give you double.
No, you don't
damage.
have to.
Well, an
That-
overbear
that-
doesn't
that
do
part-
any
that part's
damage.
fine, yeah.
Overbear doesn't do any damage anyways.
Yeah, I'm just
That does
trying to get
1
him
to
on the
2.
ground, so I'm pretty sure he's.
No,
on the ground.
pummeling does 1 or 2.
Yeah, pummeling does 1 or
Overbear.
2.
If a hit is successful, the defender is knocked prone for the remainder of that round, and they take 1 to 2 points of damage.
Oh,
They're
okay. So I got to roll a D2 for damage.
Yep. And they are not considered pinned unless the attacker hits with a successful grapple or
Yes.
already held them.
1 damage. Let's go.
Boom. Okay, so do you like just slam him backwards, or like how do you take this guy to the ground?
Well, he was trying to squirm away, so I mostly, honestly, sort of got a hold of him and sort of jumped up in the air and then moved my arms out of the way and sort of mashed in between me and the floor.
Okay. Sounds good. So now he's down on the ground. Winded. Brent, I'll let you go first in that case, because he's not in the best of situations.
All right, well, I'll whack him with my hand axe then.
Okay.
He's taking a total of 3 points of damage.
Did you hit him at least?
Whoops. I just rolled damage. Let's see if I hit
You're
him.
so confident.
Well, it is +13 to hit him.
I'm looking for that 1.
I rolled a 4. If that tells you anything.
Because I'm not gonna lie, if you'd have rolled a 1, I'd have been like, and you go down with that hand axe right into Jeff's shoulder.
So I did 2 points of damage.
Okay. 2 points of damage. Let me roll it. Let me roll something real quick.
By the way, it shouldn't be 1 or 2 points of damage. It should just be 2 points of damage automatically for both pommel and overbear. That's my rules criticism for the evening.
Okay. Well, it looks like this guy was his D6 hit points. You guys have exceeded them. The 1 hit die D6 goblin. Basically, you threw him on the ground, and Brent's follow up. Tell me.
I just whacked him in the head with the axe. Apparently, as brutal as it sounds, he's being held down by the giant orc, and I just went up and went plunk.
I had flanking.
It works.
The top side is a flank as well.
Oh well, then I rolled a 15 then.
Is that how that works when he's on the ground? The top half is also a.
I came in from the side. Okay, the side of his head was flanked.
Sure. Okay. Whatever.
Hey, you said it, not me.
I did. I apologize. Okay. So yeah. So basically, it looks as though you dispatched both those goblins. What do you guys do?
Try and drag them.
Yeah.
We try and drag them and kind of put them like pile the shit on top of them, so like they're kind of hidden,
Okay.
and then continue on towards the door.
I would check them for anything that might look useful.
And I look at you like they're
I don't
goblins.
know. They might have money.
I mean, they have some, definitely these goblins don't really have much on them. They're pretty much in the equivalent of
That
like a
figures.
loincloth, working on, making these, maybe making some more knives or arrowheads or whatever was needed by the greater tribe. But they weren't really that, they weren't really wearing a lot of clothing while they were doing this. Um, you can tell that, I mean, there are other areas of the trade hall you can explore if you'd like to. There are definitely piles of refuse, um, open areas that kind of, look like they may have at one point been an office. Brent, if you have familiarity, you kind of have seen this type of setup in other small dwarven towns that are similar make and style.
Unless there's obviously stuff that's flammable that I can set on fire with this fire that they had, I'm really not interested. Again, the goal is to get out.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure. And the mushrooms are moist, fire resistant, or so I hear.
Yeah, so I just leave them that way, then head towards the door.
But maybe tasty. Hard to say. You don't know this strain of mushroom.
You know what madcap mushrooms are, so no. We head towards the door.
Are you sure you don't want to try a mushroom?
I'm positive.
Okay, well the mushrooms wave goodbye, and
Unless I eat one and I become a battle rager, no, I'm not going to eat one.
that's it. That's all that happened. Not this time. And you would actually, what the effect would be is up here you'd be a battle rager, but not out
Which
here.
means I'd just be screaming in the train all at the top of my lungs, running in a circle. I've played this game before. Yeah, so we head towards the down.
Okay. Well, so going towards the other end, the other exit from the trade hall. The corridor does open up after a few dozen feet, and that's you can actually see the dwarven door that is probably is the door to the outside here. The door itself isn't. It actually, it's. I mean, for as much as you could try to deface it, there wasn't really any kind of symbolism or iconography on it or anything like that. But it does stand there, stoic, ageless, etc. As probably the biggest barrier to the outside world. And from here, you feel like it's probably not, you know, depth wise, it's probably only 4, maybe 6 feet between you and the outside at this point, Brent.
Yeah, of solid stone.
Yeah, very solid stone.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think there's a smaller door. Usually dwarves don't build a backup door. So yeah, we're gonna have to move past it and go down.
Okay. So yeah, so waving adios to the giant door. Now it is the time to go to the other corridor. Through that corridor, there is the feasting hall that you have to go through before you get to the stairs. It does appear as though as you get closer and you can start as maybe about halfway through this room, you can start to smell something delicious.
Hmm.
When I say delicious, I mean like smells good.
I don't believe that because it's goblin food. So you probably smell it smells good, not me.
Could be. Could be. It smells really delicious to you, Jeff. How about that? It smells good to you, Brent, but delicious to Jeff.
Nope, don't believe it.
So what do I recognize it as?
You're not sure. The closest thing that you would probably imagine it to be would be some sort of stew. Seems as though they're using some type of seasonings in order to give it that kind of aroma and everything like that. It doesn't smell rancid or anything. It just smells like a hearty stew. It doesn't smell beefy. You definitely know it's not beef or chicken or anything like that. Whatever
Okay.
they've got in there is definitely coming from the vegetables that they've used, as well as probably some other herbs or whatever they've been able to
It smells like
acquire
we've
down
got
here.
more stupid goblins to deal with, is what it sounds like. It smells like to me. So yeah, what do we see when we get closer to the
The great receiving hall and feasting hall.
the feast
I
hall?
mean, it's so the great hall is built in a similar way. The hallway kind of extending past it on the other side. But as you get closer, you kind of see what looks to be a giant cauldron or maybe a soup pot that has been set up in front of what was originally probably a giant stone chair. That was where you could see the officer or whoever was lording over these other dwarves and everything, like where they receive guests and everything like that. The stone tables in here are mostly intact, surprisingly enough. And you see several goblins being directed by what looks to be almost a kind of an old withered goblin, kind of leaning against a staff as she, is directing them to put various ingredients into this enormous pot. Kind of from the pot, kind of anchoring it to the ground, are several giant chains. Not sure why they would have chains tethered to this pot, but whatever, they're goblins. And the pot itself probably is, you could probably guess, it's probably big enough to feed the entire tribe plus some, just in terms of how big it is. Those food challenges that you see where they've got like something burning and they have like a 12-foot fry pan or whatever it is. Same thing with this pot. It's so big that they have stairs to kind of take their giant wooden oars to stir the pot and everything like that.
Can we tell how many of them there are?
You see the one that looks kind of like an old matronly goblin, and you see 5 other goblins kind of helping with ingredients. You see that they're putting moss in. It seems like they're putting spider legs in, maybe some crab, something like that. You're not sure. And about five assistants doing that, and they seem to be singing while they're doing this. Seems like they have kind of a small sing-song way that they work as they're doing their
How brightly lit is the place?
campfire. I mean,
Just the
actually,
fire from the stove.
well, I would say relatively well lit, because the fire under there, even though you're not exactly sure what they're using for fuel, it is, obviously the light is going out through the rest of the room and everything like that.
And it's at the
Fairly
far
large.
end from
Basically
right.
in front of where the chair was, where you could see that.
But that's at the far end. Like the tunnels are like this, and this would be at the far end. Yes.
Yep. So there's a straight across to the tunnel, and then there's a soup kitchen over to your left.
And the there's one stone table or many stone tables or
6 total tables. And you'd say that probably between you and the far wall is maybe about, let's say about 80 feet. Best guess. Just enough distance for Jeff to charge. If he wants to.
I don't know.
well, they're not armed.
From what
Really?
you can tell, they look like they have maybe cooking, like, knives for cutting vegetables and other ingredients they seem to have acquired.
The problem is if they set off an alarm, they'll call every goblin in the warren to hear.
Can you think of a way to tip over the pot?
Not with it being chained down.
Yeah, me neither.
When you look at the chains look like they I mean, they're loosely attached, like they're not.
What's your
chained.
strength, Jeff?
The average? My character is super average, except for maybe my con and my charisma.
Yeah,
11.
my
strength's
strength
11.
my strength is the same as yours, so I don't think that's the plan. Breaking the chains and flipping the stew pot over is not the plan. The
Not
plan
even
would
with physics.
the plan would be. I also have an intelligence of 8, so your physics argument is probably not valid either.
Use a lever.
I mean, the plan would be the same as the other goblins. Shoot one and you bash one. Like,
Well, there's the old goblin that's in charge of everything. Does
right?
anybody else look bash worthy?
Who seems like I mean, she could be harmless or she could be real dangerous, depending on how Mike designed this challenge, to use
Yeah.
meta talk.
You never know. All you know is you have soup goblins, which is the reason why you have soup goblins is because Rory he doesn't understand soot. So when he watches My Neighbor Totoro, he goes around calling the soot goblins soup goblins. So I thought it would be fun to include.
So we can't hide we can't like hide behind the tables as we sneak across, right? That's not an option with how the tables are set up.
If the tables are like long this way, you have some cover and going that direction. Just not it's not the best. Like it's not reliable because there are gaps between the tables.
Well, yeah, but they're also busy, so
Mhm.
they're like doing stuff, which should give us some advantage to being sneaking past.
Maybe. It's possible. I think we should try to sneak until we can't.
And then you're gonna charge them, and I'll shoot at them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll see if we can sneak across.
All right.
Here is my sneak roll. Oh, I rolled a 22. Jeff rolled a 19.
Wow. Okay. Do. Dun, dun, dun. Should I do it in front or should I do it behind?
You should do it correctly.
Oh, I shouldn't I? Well, I just wanted to build some tension. So the goblins, as they work, incorrectly roll their dice.
Oh, one of them critted. Unless they have a minus.
Well, one of them was actually in the soup, apparently.
Yeah, he fell. He fell in the soup and added distraction to us sneaking by.
Yeah, flavor. You know, that je ne sais quoi to the final product.
So as you guys are moving your way across, you hear like the one that's probably the matronly one. You hear her just do this like huge inhale, like, and you can kind of feel her gaze coming your direction. She's like, I think we might have meat for tonight. What is this? In the common tongue, so Brent can understand. Quite elegantly speaking, I might add. Meat's back on the menu, boys. Is that what the Lord of the Rings?
Something like that.
Something like that. Okay. Brent's like, I just roll initiative.
Well,
Those
I mean,
orcs
that's
against the
you didn't give it to us, so yeah. So they didn't have a minus at all, so yeah.
Do you want them to have individual initiatives, or would you rather have them with?
Oh, roll 6 times.
Perfect.
I mean, either way, they're probably going to go.
It's a good thing you had the crossbow loaded as you were sneaking.
So
ready to fire as you stood.
That's right.
So the last one will be the matronly one. Wow, these goblins are fast. So
well, I mean, there's 6 of them. There's 2 of us, so the chances are most of them are going to go for us.
So because of the current odds, Brett, you can go first. You can have the first shot.
Okay, I'll shoot at her. Oops. Oh, whoops. I did it wrong.
That's not going to do it. I'll tell you that much.
Neither's that.
No. So your shot does go wide. Yeah. Again, this is where it could be a little bit weird. Why don't you take that D20 and I'll give you a 1 in 4 chance of hitting one of the goblins behind her. So roll a D20, 5 or less, it's another goblin. Oh, close. You shoot at the goblins. Seems to go a little wide and above the crowd. The matron looks at you guys and says, "Oh, a dwarf and an orc? What a beautiful boy! Let's get them in this soup pot." And then she commands the other ones to go. The one that's like right next to her, kind of like running at you with a knife. She's not charging because she doesn't have the movement, I don't think. So she just uses this round to move. So she is next round within a charging distance, if you guys don't know.
Oh, she's a 10. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's one other one that's a 10.
That was the matron. She used her round to.
There's 2 10s for the goblins.
Yep, the matron and the
another one,
sous
and then
chef.
they have an 8.
Then they have an 8.
And I had a 7.
That one also jumps over the ingredient, the chopping table, and kind of runs at you. So you have 2 goblins that have run. Where's their movement? 20 feet. Oh, actually, because I said it was about 80 feet across the hallway, the 2 goblins are actually right next to you now. They've run all the way across the hallway, kind of jumping across the stone tables to make it more interesting.
What is their movement? They're
20
faster.
feet. So they can. So when you run,
you can run 4 times.
Yeah. So they close the distance. They obviously can't attack. So they've basically gambled.
Just run up to you. Yeah.
Yeah. So they've just run up.
I guess I will attack the first one that's right next to us.
Okay.
Is he going before the 2 7s then?
Yeah.
Okay.
20.
Nice. What kind of attack were you doing? Just out of curiosity.
A punch.
Okay.
Or 2 damage.
Okay. Okay. So 2 damage. So basically, as the one like ran up to you, it seems as though it ran right into your fist. And based on the hit points that I rolled for it, that's a good thing for you. Why don't you tell me how this unfortunate goblin sprinted into your fist and died? You want to tell the story of that?
I think I miscalculated the angle as I punched, and it was a little more downforce, and it just sort of crushed its neck as I slammed into its forehead.
Yeah. You know how like sometimes when like a part of your body is at all of a sudden in a different location than the other part, like the feet literally fly up into the air because of the violent trajectory in which the head goes slamming into the table. Let's see. So that was 1 down. So now there's 5 left. One second here.
There's 3 left.
There were 5 goblins plus the matron.
There was 6 total. Right. There's now 5 total.
There's 5 total. 4. 10, 10, 8 went.
Oh.
There's 2 7s and a 2.
Yeah, no, look. So I had 6
depending
total.
on it's depending on which one he killed.
Yeah, so that's I'm just making my notes here. 1 second.
Yeah, he either killed one that went already or he killed one that didn't go already.
Oh, it would have gone already because it had to run to him.
Okay.
Right. So
yeah, I gave up on the idea of charging because I didn't want to separate the 2 of us. You know, if they still have to come over here and we can thin 1 or 2 as they get over here, that helps our odds.
Yeah,
rather than splitting us up and having us get surrounded by.
Yeah, until she casts a spell and nukes us anyways.
Right.
How very pessimistic of you. Just a second. Okay. All right. So the next two aren't exactly sure that they want to, like, after seeing the one charge, because the charge was really cool. You kind of, from their perspective, they saw it like going and getting some meat, take that, and then getting slammed in the table. They don't know if they're wanting to do that. So the first one, they're going to stand back and throw some rocks at you. Oops. 1d40 is not normally what I roll for that. What is your armor class, Jeff? I have
11.
a 13 and a 14.
It's 11.
Okay. One second. Let me make sure I can actually throw that this far. That's the one part that I don't know if I like about the book, is that the bookmarks are a little wonky. Okay. A rock. Range. Okay. So 1d2 for damage. The question is are you within range? Because the range on them is 30 feet. So this would be a fairly large.
I thought you said you were 80.
Well, the range on the rock is 30 feet. I thought it was longer, I guess. But
Right. If
that's
they,
okay.
I mean, they still might have thrown it, but
Well, they
Yeah,
would
they might
still
have thrown
throw
it.
it, but the question is what kind of modifiers would that provide them? Range combat, effective. So maximum effective distance is equal to 3 times the listed range increment as detailed in the equipment list. The listed equipment is considered to be close range. Twice the range is long range.
So I'm effectively at 3 times the range.
Yep. So and long range results in a -6 penalty to the attack roll. Okay, so that would mean that
they
yeah.
definitely
So
did
neither
8.
one of those would hit.
Yeah.
Because that would be an 8 and a 7.
Do they
So
have a
from a
chance of hitting
distance,
their other friend standing over there?
over by you guys,
Yeah, there was 2 of them standing by us. One of them's now dead.
the rocks fell short.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that's a fairly long hurl, especially for a goblin. So that means, so that was that one. And Brent, you were at a 7 as well.
No, I went already. I was at
No,
10.
I was at 7. Brent went first. He had a 10.
Okay, and then the last one was
Just
a
the
2.
2. Yeah.
Yeah. Also going to try to throw a rocket at you guys. Nope. That would be a 6. Okay. And so roll d10s. So 4, 8, 8, 8, 6.
So the last one's the crown, right?
Yes.
And which one? Well, I guess it doesn't matter. One of those is the one next to us.
One of those is close to us. The other 3 are not.
Okay. So the one that's closest to you is that one is going on a 4. So technically, it's 2 of them that hurled rocks at you last time that are the first ones. And so.
No, it's all 3 rock throwers then, right?
Mm-hmm.
They got 3 aids.
Oh, that's right. Yep. All 3 rock throwers. are going to try to hurl their rocks again at you. 3d20. Wow. No, they are not good long range artillery. I'm going to have to move them up a little bit farther. Okay.
Then it's either Brent or the Crone.
Brent, you can have at, because obviously, like,
I'm gonna shoot a crossbow bolt at her again. Or do I have to spend a round to reload? How does crossbows work?
I didn't actually look at that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Reload. I have a riddle on page 233.
Nice. Riddles are always good.
In case you wanna do a riddle real quick. 105. Okay. Missile weapons. So there's an encumbrance value. There's damage range.
Yeah, it doesn't have a reload time.
Doesn't seem to say it. So I guess it would imply, unless there's something else that I'm missing, that you can shoot and fire, or you can fire and reload once per turn.
You're just doing it off screen, basically. You're firing and then reloading. Okay, then I am going to take a shot at her.
Okay, at the matron.
Yeah. Nope.
Okay, and that was you at a.
I rolled a 7.
So you were at the 6 though.
Yeah, which is her now.
Mm-hmm.
Unless max range is 80 on my crossbow, you don't get a bonus for. Well, I would need plus 10 or something like that. Never mind. It's a dumb question.
No. Okay. So
it's her and then the closest guy to us.
Okay, so she's gonna make her way forward.
So 20 more feet, or is she running?
Yeah, she's gonna go 20 feet, and she's going to rally the troops here. She's not really saying or doing anything that worries you, other than she's speaking a goblin like, "Get them! Do you want to feed your people? This is perfect. We haven't had meat in so long." Okay.
All right.
And then
me and the other
is,
one have each got 4. So are they going first or am I going
go
first?
ahead.
I think our dexterity is higher,
I'm going
right?
to punch.
That's the.
I got a 10, Mike, in my punch attempt.
And that one does not hit.
Okay.
Okay. So, and that's the one that was
Next to me.
Next to you. So they're going to try to stab you with a knife. Stabby, stabby, stabby.
Nope.
And you can tell that it's quite the.
All right, initiative.
Yeah, quite the thing there. So no real change, unfortunately.
He ain't real good with his.
I got an 8. Brent got a 9.
He ain't real good with his kitchen knife.
So the close one is the first one, and the crone is the last one, and the 3 in the middle are the 3 rock throwers.
Correct, Mike?
Oh, what was the question? I'm sorry.
5d10.
The first one's the closest one. The middle 3 are the rock throwers, and then the last one's the older goblin. Correct?
Works for me.
Oh, cool. The closest one and the rock thrower go before us.
Yeah, the closest one and then one rock thrower. All right. Let's go. I put my hands up and, egg him on a little bit
The pugilist monk,
after that last attempt.
Money Mayweather taunts the goblin with a
2,
knife.
and the rock throwers. 1 second here.
Well, one rock thrower.
Okay. So initiative is Brent after the. Oh yeah. So it's going to attack you.
Sure.
It's going to try to. It's going to try to start to pull you to the side to expose your flank. So it's going to try to flank you if you allow it to. So
I'll rotate with him.
Okay.
That's a
Stabs
hit.
you. I believe that a knife does
1d4.
No more than a D4. It might be a
I would
D3.
assume it'd be 1d4.
A dagger, I think, is D4. I don't know about a knife.
Well, hand axe is 1d8, so or 1d6, so it would make
Okay.
sense.
I wanted to double check because in this game it does matter. A dagger does 1d4, a knife does 1d2.
Oh,
Okay.
Ooh, a nasty slash across the as you kind of do this, it kind of reaches out and cuts you across the forearm, punishing you for your taunt. One could say.
All right. What's rock thrower doing?
Rock thrower is moving up 10 feet and chucking another rock. Nope, and misses.
All right. So it's Brent's turn.
yep. I'm taking another shot at her.
Okay.
Skewer her. Nice.
I hit her this time.
Ooh, you did.
Let's see how she encourages them as she's coughing out blood out of her collapsed
Five
lung.
5 points of damage.
Okay. It sticks into her, and she looks at you in both pure pain and anger, and she yells at them in goblins to kind of like cracking the whip, one could say, to get them to take you down, screaming at those ones that are just back throwing rocks to get up and get into the mix of things. She's not down though.
I assumed
Okay.
not.
I'm going to punch the guy who stabbed me.
Okay. Seems like
I think the
a
stab
good
kind of
target.
bothered me. I got an 8. I missed one of
Okay.
the last 2 rock throwers.
All right, 1 second here. And so next is so the other 2, this guy moves basically 80 to engage. And the other one moves 80 to engage based on the matron's request. Actually, because Brent, you already went. Jeff, you went. Yeah. So
Yeah.
now it's her turn.
That's it. Oh, the
Okay.
matron gets a chance to go. She was the last one.
Okay, 1 second.
She can take take 20 to lay on the floor and bleed out.
Okay, do you have a spell resistance?
Me? I assume something.
What's that?
I assume something. What kind of spell?
She's going to cast. She casts a skittering bolt of energy, which strikes their targets unerringly. I don't think you have a spell resistance at your level. Spell resistance.
Intelligence gives you arcane magic saves, right?
Yeah. Breath weapon and traps is dex. Death attack, charm, and fear is charisma. So she probably hits me and does damage. And it sounds like
Oh.
magic missile, so it sounds like she doesn't actually have to hit me.
She doesn't have to hit you. She just has to overcome your spell resistance. 242.
I am resistant to arcane magic because I'm a dwarf.
Oh yeah.
What
What
that
does that
means,
do
I
in this
don't know.
case?
I don't know. I have to look.
Why don't you look that up just to make sure I'm not missing anything? Okay, it's not a saving throw. 260. Okay, so all creatures have an inherent spell resistance of 1. And so what does your dwarf have?
I'm looking right now. Page 185.
Unless, of course, you want to suppress your spell resistance for me.
They receive a +3 bonus to all saving throws against arcane spells or spell-like effects.
Okay. Well, that would be an arcane spell or spell-like effects. But let's
So
see. You said
that would
saving
be
throw, though, right?
+4. It says, yeah, all saving throws against arcane spells and spell-like effects. So if it doesn't have a saving throw,
Yeah. So basically, I roll a d20, and the idea here is that that if I roll a 1, obviously your inherent spell resistance is what saves the day. Okay. 1d20. You ready, Brent?
mm-hmm.
Will I critically fail?
I doubt it. Nope.
Nope. That's the exact opposite.
Yeah, but there
So
are
for
no
other
crits
people,
in this. So
we decided not to homebrew any crits in this. Oh, that's too bad. No.
oh shit, it's too
So
bad now.
basically, what? Oh, we can make it retroactive if you'd like. No. So basically, you can see that in her anger, she kind of like looks at you, points a gnarly old goblin finger at you, and says words of power which sound out of place for this goblin. And yeah, she unleashes a missile of light at you, kind of a skittering bolt, kind of like kind of
How
goes
much
all
damage
around.
does it do?
Boom. 1d4 plus 1, so not anything too crazy.
I have 6 hit points, Mike.
Ho.
So she can't kill me.
She can do 5.
Can do max point damage though.
Wow.
Wow, she was mad at you for hitting her with that crossbow. Okay. Initiative?
Initiative.
Oops. Ah. Okay.
Seven. So 3 of them go before us.
2. He's been letting us go on the ties, so you'd be able to go before
Oh
the
yeah,
other one.
9, 10, 9. So rock thrower. I guess they're not rock throwers now. One of the ones next to you.
Yeah, one
Mhm.
isn't close to
Her.
us. The 2 are. 3 are.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
first
so 3
they
are
all
technically.
are. They all are now, aren't they?
No,
Well,
one of them
one
didn't
rock
move up.
thrower, the crone, and then the 3 others are close to you and
Okay.
Yeah, they all moved up.
All but
except for
one
one
moved
rock
up.
thrower.
One threw a rock last time.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they. Oh, okay.
No, one went before.
One is
she
with us, then the 2
absorbed.
moved up. One stayed back, and then she moved up. Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
but she didn't move all the way up. She just took a couple steps towards you, basically, and kind of yelled at her people for standing back at the cooking pot, throwing stuff at you. Okay, and now she's going to summon Soup Elemental. I mean,
Well, the one of the rock throwers is first.
no. Well, one of the people in. So the rock thrower is at a 7.
No, The first one was the first one that was
The
closest.
first one
to Jeff.
is the one that sliced me.
The first
7 is the one that
with the knife.
sliced me.
There's a one that was previously a rock thrower, I would assume, is 10. And then there's a 9, which is her. If you're going in order, anyways, the order we used before.
I would just do whatever we need to. 10. 4. Okay, so Jeff, it is going to. That's well, just for ease. Say it's one of the new ones that has the 10, and is going to try to attack you since it was able to make it this turn. No. You can tell that they were winded from having to run across the entire hall.
The fat food goblins.
Just
right,
watch too much
what
TV, okay? She's gonna move closer. So she's gonna like make her way up. She's not gonna run, but she's going to, kind of say, like she says it, Jeff, she's like, press the attack. I've wounded one.
Okay. Brent, what you gonna do?
I'm at 7. I'm gonna shoot her again. Maybe. Nope. Shot goes wide.
That was unfortunate.
You were definitely feeling the pain.
I'm hurt from the spell, and shot goes wide. Yep.
Yeah, it must have hit you in your arm, your side, and you kind of like try to lift your crossbow, and it releases a little bit premature, let's say. Okay. So then we have
Jeff.
Other guy standing next to me.
Oh yeah, the knife guy.
Yep. And that one's gonna try to flank you. So
is flanking a thing in this game?
Yeah. So if you look at
it's a maneuver.
No, I believe you. I didn't know.
It gives him +2 to attack.
Yeah. 13 total.
It's a hit.
2 points of damage.
2 more. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I have taken 6 damage. I'm at 7.
Okay.
I guess I'm attacking knife thrower.
Stab her.
Or knife stab. Yep. I'm 10 again. Man. Nope. No good. Go ahead for the other 2 guys.
Okay. The other rock thrower moves.
The other 2 rock throwers.
Well, one is.
no, one's already next to me. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Go.
Or us. Go. I mean, they're close to me too.
So they'll all right 4 be up here. Okay.
So one of them could attack me too.
Yeah. One of them gets to attack. One of them gets to move. Let's go.
Yep. So as for where it is, since you both are equally dangerous, but obviously the orc looks more dangerous since he's very ferocious looking, and there's just something about him. They just have to attack him.
Well, charisma means target now.
Hit.
Two points of damage.
Have you rolled anything other than 2 every time you?
No, he's rolled 2 every time.
Every time I do damage with the D2, I roll a 2.
All right.
Pretty impressive.
Initiative, right?
Mm-hmm.
You go first this time. There's just something about him.
All right. I will attack. I hit this time.
Ooh, yeah, you did.
With my spinning back fist, we'll call it, I do 4 damage to one of them.
The knifey guy, probably?
Probably the knifey guy, but I mean, there's 3 other knifey guys now, so. But probably I'll probably take out or try to.
Well, let's say one has a fork and one has a wooden spoon. He's
how about we'll say I attack whichever guy has the 9 initiative, Mike.
Good call.
Not that it helps much. They still get in 2 attacks before you go, but assuming that kills him, I don't know that it will.
Nine. Because I have wait.
All 4 rock throwers are up close now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I had forgot to move my numbers over, so I didn't know who was who for just a second here.
Well, none of the 4 have been hit, so
Okay, so that one. Tell me how you smash this goblin.
yeah, I kind of fainted and then did like a spinning back fist and caught him right upside the temple
Okay,
and just
your
sort of made him collapse right away.
your move was good enough that it didn't see it coming. The surprise as its soul leaves its body is pretty impressive, honestly.
As it goes astral traveling.
Mm-hmm. Astral traveling. Okay.
All right, 2 of them get to attack.
Okay, so the 2 attack.
I just
They're going to
dropped
take
another one
on
of their
Jeff.
friends.
Yeah.
Well, they can't kill you.
Well, let's just do 2d20. Oh,
They can get fucking close, though. Let's see, 2 tooth.
oh, 3 points of damage. Moving in for the kill.
I am at 2 hit points.
Yep.
Ooh, you can
Brent's at
tell
1,
that the
I'm at
crone
2.
smells blood.
So I'm going to shoot her again.
Oh, that hits. Oh, by the way, Brent,
I only did 1 point of
looking
damage.
at your
though.
dice, and I wanted to double check because I think because you hate them so much, you get a +1 to hit those creatures.
Oh,
Is that incorporated into your?
that's just my level and my level and my dex that I'm using to hit.
Okay, I just wanted to double check because I was looking at that and I was like, that only looks like your level and your dex.
I don't think it makes any difference in what I've rolled before, though.
That's
No,
fine.
when he wasn't close, it
I was
felt like
very
yeah.
not close. It was like a sub 10. Sorry, I hit her, but I only did 1 point of damage.
Okay, she's upset with you again. Let me adjust her hit points.
So she officially has more hit points than I do.
So you did 6 points total.
So there's her and one of her minions still to attack.
Okay. So she kind of runs over the rest of the distance, crossbow bolts kind of sticking in odd parts of her body. One looking obviously like it was more of a graze than the other one. And Jeff, you can hear her say, "Take him. I want to play with the food a little bit before we eat it." And the last one goes to attack you, Brent. Yeah, let's go with
Attacks
you,
me. I mean,
Jeff.
I've dropped 2 of his friends.
You can attack me. It's fine.
That one attacks you.
It hits.
That one attacks me? Who?
No, that one attacks Jeff for 1 point of damage.
I'm at 1 health, and Brent is at 1 health.
Okay. Initiative.
Isn't there one more attack? She didn't attack?
No, she used this turn to move up towards you.
I got a 10. Is she next to us now?
Oops.
Yes.
I also got
Jesus
a 10.
Christ. Good Lord, guys.
All right. We're just attacking her, right, Brent?
You
You want first dibs on her? If you miss, I'm attacking her, not one of the other guys.
Well, then let me attack her first.
Okay. Our only hope, I think, is
I'm attacking her with my hand axe this time.
okay.
Which I think is just my level plus, it's not dex, so melee attack. I miss her.
Okay, level
Right.
plus your strength plus your hatred.
Yeah, you got an extra one for your hatred, but I don't think the 8 makes it either.
Well, I don't have a strength bonus, so it's 1 for hatred, 1 for level.
Oh,
so you can attack her now.
All right, I'm going to attack her. Yeah, I'm weakened after getting cut up with these kitchen knives. I rolled a 4, Mike. So
okay.
they need 2 hits out of 5 attacks.
Okay. Let's see. 2, 3. So let's roll the 3 goblins first, one at a time, because they're gonna switch.
there's
Just
4
roll them all.
goblins.
Just roll them all at once.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just roll 4d20 plus whatever. Unless her attack bonus is different.
Don't matter. She'll be the last one. Okay.
Okay.
Well,
and
yeah,
she has a
had
vorpal
2.
sword.
2 of those hit me. I'm assuming at least one of them hits Brent.
One of them hits me too.
Yeah.
So I go down.
Jeff? Did that take you down, Jeff? Because you only had one
we
hit
were,
point,
we
right?
were both at 1, Mike. Any hits? Take us
Oh,
down.
yeah. So perfect. Exactly where I wanted to end tonight, with you fighting against the soup goblins and being overrun by the goblins themselves. A harrowing battle. The last thing that you hear is, "Oh, we're not done yet," as you drift off. "We'll see how you play." And you guys both go to black. Your wounds overcome you. You go unconscious. Dun, dun, dun.
All right.
Yeah, because what is death at?
Death is at later.
Minus? No, is it like, I'm asking for mechanic purposes? Is it?
Oh, death and dying. That's a little bit later in terms of the minus. Let me find that for you.
Is it like double or is it minus 10? I'm just curious.
I do not remember off the top of my head. So my 0 hit points. The character or monster passes out. They are not dead, but they are rather incapable of acting while passed out due to blood loss. And -1 to -6, the character is rendered unconscious and gravely wounded. They require bed rest to recover. Unless magically healed, the character so wounded must rest 24 hours before the process of healing begins. Now, the one thing that's interesting about this game is how they handle healing and everything like that.
We're both probably -1 at least.
Well, you're both at 0 because of how.
No, we were both at -1 because they hit us 4 times and they do at least 1 point of damage.
Oh,
no,
they 2 attacks and 2 attacks.
They hit twice.
Or they hit 3 times. Sorry. Because only.
Yep.
Oh no, they did hit twice. You're right. So 1. Okay. So yeah.
Like perfect chefs and connoisseurs, they got you just where they want you, apparently.
Apparently. All right, we're down.
Alrighty.
Yep, you're down. So we'll see how this all plays out next week.
Dun dun dun.
Okay.
Okay. So you have been knocked unconscious.
I can't believe we could only take out 2 of those guys. That was weak.
I'm kind of just pushing the rolls just a little bit to see how it is. That was probably a little longer combat than I anticipated. Because I was not really familiar with how the game goes and all that stuff. But I do have to say that speed wise, I mean, each round goes by pretty fast. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like Dragonbane, where you really only have so many things that you can choose to do tactically and all that stuff. But I do think that action economy kind of got you there. Like they just had more actions than you guys did.
Well, yeah, they had 6.
Well, the spell doing all of my hit points.
Or 7 to our 2. Yeah. So.
Yeah, the spell doing a major component there.
That was a ton of
damage. And it bypasses my defenses entirely.
All right. Well, I guess we'll see how things go next week.
We'll see how things go next week.
We will. So let us know if you guys make it to the end of the video here. We appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. We really we have a lot of fun doing this. Agile, I appreciate you again recommending the game, and
Yeah.
It's fun. It seems to be going really well. So thank you.
we'll see if we can't kill these guys yet or not. I don't think that's my
Well, I
goal. I
mean,
don't think my goal.
Technically, you could just kill us off camera now if you really wanted us to die. So,
Nah.
just saying.
I want you to be captured.
Coup de grace is a thing in most of these games. So,
yeah, it's all good.
all
So
right.
thank you, everybody. We'll hopefully catch you all next week.
Have a good one, everybody.
We'll conclude then. So,
All right. Night.
Thank you, everyone.
take care.